It's Monday. It's your girl Candy K. Lynn.
Hey, you
I guess it's my boy Shaw Time Shaw, but I can't hear him. And it's time to pull up. Every Monday here on DFWI Radio, we talk sports, news, and hip hop. We don't talk about people. We just talk about the headlines. Mr. Shaw, you probably got to change your settings. Oh, he hung up on me, y'all. Well, it's Monday. The show is starting at 6:15 tonight. This is Pull Up the Podcast, and we thank each of you for joining us as you do always. Mr. Shaw, are you ready to go? I think you should use your computer instead of your cell phone, and then you could adjust your settings to, hear like you do in the studio.
Candy Caitlin, you're sounding like this. Am I sounding like that to you too?
No, do I sound like a robot?
You are sounding like this.
I still sound like a robot?
Yeah.
Mr. Shaw, I think it's just your ears.
You think it's just mine?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
I don't know. Because it's sounding like
I
this.
still sound like that?
Hello.
It's you. I'm using my microphone.
Maybe because I
Can
have
you?
AirPods in.
Okay, how about now?
Um, it still sound the same, Candy Caitlin. Say
Okay,
something.
Mr. Shaw, can you hear me now?
Say it again.
Can you hear me now? He's recording me. You were so petty. What does it sound like? Sounds like I'm a
You can hear
killer.
that? You can hear it like
Okay,
it's like you
Mr.
got
Shaw,
the
you
voice
run the
changer on.
run the show. I'll be right back.
Hey y'all, so we having technical difficulties. I don't know if it was Kenny Kaylin. I don't know if it was me. My head froze. I don't even know what Kenny Kaylin was able to get over to you guys, let you guys know what we're talking about today. So, since we started with sports, we were talking about Lincoln Riley on this. Kenny Kaylin, you back?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly fine.
I don't know what happened. Okay,
Did you hear that though?
I did. I was like making fun of us. Like I sound like a killer, like telling somebody and giving holding a
Yeah.
ransom note
You,
from a movie.
yeah. You on the phone with the detectives,
Yeah,
the I
the
want
negotiator.
ransom money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, it wouldn't be a show, and that's what happens in the studio, even in real life. So when we're running it from home, it happens. So I heard you talking about sports. We are talking about sports today. We are talking about college football. We're talking about head coaches, right? Sports
Mm-hmm.
is all about the head coaches. There's one piece that I didn't put in there that I do want to shine a little light on before we get started is, did you see the picture of Klay Thompson sitting in the stadium after the game was over?
Yeah.
The Warriors are out to a 17-2 start without Klay.
Mm-hmm.
Without Klay. Can
Mm-hmm.
you, like, in my head, I made up everything that he was saying in his head. Like
You
every
made it up.
emotion. I made it up. Every feeling with the towel on his head is giving me chills to think about it. And just the energy, right? What can I do once I get out here
It
to
just
get
said
back to
something
the
about
ship?
Clay getting up shots.
Right. Because everything in his mind now is they don't need me, but what do we look
Mm-hmm.
like when they get me?
Yeah.
What
It's
part
gonna
do
be a
I come
different
back?
team.
Yeah, when do I break up the chemistry? Do I come off the bench and let the starters stay hot? Do I pull the strap off, do you need my defense? You know what I'm saying? What can I bring in on the back end not to disrupt the chemistry right now while we roll?
Mm-hmm.
How do I work my way back into the starting lineup? So those are just things that I saw when I saw that image. I felt like it was very powerful. I feel like it was something that we will look back years from now,
Mm-hmm.
because that is commitment and dedication and laser sharp focus when everybody else is gone and all the dust is settled.
Mm-hmm.
What are
You
you
locked
doing?
in.
You're locked in. What are you doing in those moments? So I feel like that was something to talk about and to share with young athletes on the power of believing in your dreams and what it looks like to fight back when it's this close to being, you don't know if you're going to ever get back. Think about 2 seasons, right?
Man, some people were like that.
3, right? Because he got hurt, at the end of the playoff run,
He got hurt. He got hurt in the finals.
in the finals.
Yeah.
You go down. There's a COVID. You get hurt again. There's a COVID year. You come back. There's just so many moving pieces to that. So I thought that was a powerful piece. But the biggest news right now is let's start with Sonny Dykes, right? The SMU.
I feel like his daddy used to be a coach.
Let's see. Was Sonny Dykes' dad a coach? And SMU has just named a new head coach, which was the former offensive coordinator, it looks like, over at Miami, who was pretty bad this year also. Can you hear me typing?
I can, but would that be okay?
That's what happens when you have to do your own research. So anyway, we're talking about the trains, right? There was an opening there at TCU. Gary Patterson had spent 20 seasons there.
Before Gary Patterson, what were y'all?
Right.
What was TCU? Not saying it wasn't time to let him go. Sometimes it is time to let him go if his heart wasn't in it no more. But what were y'all without him?
I agree. And and I understand that the times change, things change, and sometimes you have to go your separate ways. It's just it's time to go in the opposite direction. But there's got to be some loyalty, right? There's got to be.
He's still coming in and helping with the with the day in, day out. He's just not coaching.
And that's a testament to your loyalty to the programs and yourself, right? So people give their all to coaching, and they ask a lot of you because, yes, listen, I'm about tired of these emails during the middle of the day. Okay, because I'm at work.
Asking for too much.
And 8 paragraphs. Like, they ask a lot, and I'm only a low-level coaching, right? So he's out. I just feel like we could do these outs at a better time. I don't feel like the middle of the season is the best time to get rid of a coach or announce publicly, right? Because if he was still there, why couldn't he finish out the season? So for those of you who aren't familiar with location, TCU is in Fort Worth. SMU is in Dallas. DFW is not that's the airport, okay? So people will say the DFW. DFW simply is where the airport is, where Dallas and Fort Worth basically collapse. They're 2 separate cities. So SMU is in Dallas, TCU is in Fort Worth. SMU's head coach, Sonny Dykes, whose father was a head football coach at Texas Tech, Mr. Shaw. You were Spike Dykes. He was the head football coach there from 1986 to 1999. So he's taken the job at TCU again in the middle of the season, right? We make these announcements. There was talk about Deion Sanders. Deion said he wasn't going to TCU. And SMU was not happy about it Saturday. There were banners up basically saying you're leaving SMU to go to TCU. And especially in that area, it's not a good look. That's like leaving Texas and going to coach at A&M.
That's like you say, you don't go to your rival and coach. Like,
just
you've
not...
been here. Yeah. That was like Rick Pitino going to coach for Louisville, but that was many years after he had left Kentucky.
A lot of years after.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we talking about you left it's just not
in the middle of the season, right? So how can you coach me as a player?
But just
you're leaving.
Say that same thing with the other. Like, how can you take a job in the middle of the season? We still got a bowl game. Like, we still like you halfway in. How many players really?
And why are we doing this? And that's why I say about firing coaches in the middle of the season. I just don't understand the logic behind it. right? You want to get a new coach in, you want to get started as soon as possible. Like Joey McGuire's at Texas Tech now, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just to me, it's just you let one coach finish out a season and you got another coach that's willing and dealing on the back end. And all everybody's talking about right now with Texas Tech football is Joey McGuire.
Well, you know why? Think about it. Why they do it? Because they got to get them in so they can get to recruiting.
I understand that, but can't we do that quietly? Couldn't we make a formal announcement? Because payroll has nothing to do with the media. So I can hire you to work for Showtime Media. I don't have to announce you until the end of the season.
Nah, I agree. I agree, Tom. But
You can
again,
talk to
they
the coach privately. Like, yes,
look.
things leak all the time, but I just don't.
You
I think
know,
it's
I don't know. There's windows where you can't talk to the kids. There's windows
right,
where you can't recruit the kids. Right.
right.
So you want to have your coach in place because recruits resident. Because then you got to bring in your guys. There's already recruits. Like most staff already has recruits there, right, or some on the way. So then they got to come in and get the report with them to make sure they get them to stay, right? Like Oklahoma's new head coach is going to have a rapport with these players because
Well, why does Oklahoma have a new coach? Because you didn't introduce that completely.
well, Oklahoma
Lincoln
don't have a new
Riley,
coach yet.
right? Because their head coach Lincoln Riley, that everybody was so high on Lincoln and his greatness, and Lincoln Riley is out at Oklahoma 2 days after losing to Oklahoma State, which would have got them in the Big 12 championship because both teams were 10-1, right? So Oklahoma could have faced Baylor in the Big 12 championship. You're hired on Monday at USC. Did you give me your best? And Spencer Ratliff is in the transfer portal all in the same day.
Well, he was going to leave regardless because he wasn't playing.
Right, because Caleb Williams got to start a job over him.
Mm-hmm.
But these weren't things that
Did
weren't
you bench
decisions that
Spencer
were made on
Rattler because you knew
Sunday.
you was leaving and you wanted him to come with you?
Do you think so?
I don't know.
But you, well, he's definitely got to be the best option at USC right now. Because USC was pretty terrible this year too.
I ain't paying attention.
Oh, USC was pretty. USC was pretty bad.
A lot of people are terrible. A lot of teams are terrible.
Do you think this is because of COVID? Like, because I think this is like a second COVID year. I think that there have been some good games, but there's been some piss poor football, in my personal opinion.
I'm not gonna say I don't feel like it was another COVID year. I feel like like let me give you an example. That Auburn Alabama game, it turned up in the fourth quarter.
It did.
Auburn should have put them away. They just ain't had what it takes to put them away. I enjoyed this season. Teams that were bad was just bad.
But do you think that has to do with COVID and giving the extra year of eligibility?
That's an excuse
to the athlete. I mean, because did the football players get the extra year? I know volleyball got it.
Basketball did too. I think that's an excuse, man. They ain't, if your team didn't, y'all just wasn't ready. Team. Look, all this shows. Nick Saban said it last week. When Alabama played, teams are giving them like everybody coming to play. Like nobody's trying to be the laughing stock of the league no more. Right? Like Cincinnati, they show people like, man, it don't matter if you get good. Go out there and play. Right? And I feel like some of the kids at the bigger schools feel entitled, and they haven't been given it all, or you slack up a little bit.
They've been allowed to be entitled.
Alabama,
they've been given everything to be entitled, right?
Alabama,
so you said
you
that.
Don't get nothing.
You say that. You say Cincinnati, which again we talked about USC. We've talked about the Power 5 on here and the importance of the Power 5. Cincinnati is still undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
4 teams go to the playoff.
I don't know how they championship game work if they got one or not, but if they don't got to play nobody. They should be in. But if they play somebody and they lose, then they out. If they lose,
with one loss like everybody else.
Yeah, and who's gonna be are they in the Conference USA? If they lose the conference championship game, they out because you lost to a team that's not with the same talent as you or playing at the same level as you. Cincinnati need to get one of the bigger schools on their schedule, or the bigger schools need not be running from Cincinnati, if that's the case. And Cincinnati trying to build a program. You got one of them big schools. You done play one of the big schools early in the year, whether it be, it don't matter. Catch Iowa State at the Big 12, right? It might not be up, but it was a Big 12 team. Right?
So
And
you're
then,
saying catch a Big 12 and catch a SEC. Because that's basically the only way like teams like Cincinnati are literally going to
or you
receive.
catch Ohio State or Michigan.
Yeah, they're in Conference USA with University of Houston. They play
Houston.
U of H, and U of H is 11-1. So they play U of H on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So
And Cincinnati's U of H only lost.
yes.
And it ain't nothing against U of H. You know what I'm saying? But as y'all in Conference USA. It don't hit the same. You're not playing the same level of competition every week. I think SMU's in Conference USA too.
They are.
Memphis.
Right. And they play. So Cincinnati beat SMU. And Memphis is in that conference. Houston, Cincinnati, Tulsa,
Louisiana
and
Tech.
Navy,
Navy.
Southern Florida, and Temple, and East Carolina. So yes, it is. You
the
and
names
UCF
you
is there
saying,
too.
the names you saying aren't, you know what I'm saying, like
Right, but
they're
that's
not
the
holding
reason
enough
why.
weight.
But that's the reason why the playoff system sucks. I'm 12-0. If I go in and beat Houston again and I win my conference championship.
So if Houston win, should they get in?
No, they have a loss. Houston wouldn't get in because they have a loss. And that's the conversation that I keep posing about the way this playoff system is set up. Even if we go to a 6-team system, we're talking Cincinnati, right? We're saying who else is our other unbeaten? Georgia, right? Who else goes?
That is gonna go to law system. Schedule, they try to say scheduling matters, right? Who have you played and things of that
So
nature.
Michigan is the number 2 team in the country right now. Alabama is number 4 still.
Cincinnati number 3.
Cincinnati is number 3. Alabama is number 4. Oklahoma State is number 5. Notre Dame is number 6. Ohio State is number 7. Baylor is number 8. Baylor has 2 losses. So even if they win the conference championship, they're not getting in.
Why TCU brought Sonny Dykes in on a helicopter?
Well, TCU likes to bring in the helicopter. No, that was SMU.
Ain't the same no more, man.
It was a play. Petty. But what we're saying is Georgia's the number 1 team in the nation. They're undefeated. They're automatic shoe-in unless they lose.
They still should get in.
They'd have 1 loss like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So Michigan is a 1-loss team. If they win, Alabama
I feel like they're going to lose.
You feel like Michigan is going to lose?
Who they play in the Big Ten championship? Wisconsin?
Iowa.
They can lose that game.
You think Iowa can beat Michigan?
They can lose that game.
Georgia, Alabama, one team isn't going. One team isn't going because somebody's going to have a loss. If Alabama...
Well, Alabama have 2.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But if Alabama beats Georgia, Alabama's going.
Yeah. Georgia still should go. I'm not even saying like a two loss Alabama should. Well, I don't know where A&M finished, but a 2-loss Alabama, everybody just been giving them their best game, bro.
A&M is at the bottom because A&M got beat the other day.
Yeah, Florida played them close too, bro. It's like, bro, Auburn not that good neither, bro. But you're playing, you Floyd Mayweather, right? Every time Alabama step out, they Floyd Mayweather. That mean everybody gunning for your head, right? You getting everybody's best game, right? Everybody in the SEC is tired of you kicking their butt, right? Everybody tired of you being big brother. So you get in the game every week, no matter who it is. They not coming in there scared no more. They coming in like, man, we tired of getting pumped. Like, we gonna fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, Alabama's getting the best game every week. Bro, Michigan, Ohio State is the only real competition over there. Yeah, people love to hype up Wisconsin, but Wisconsin never really show up like that. Like,
they don't. So let's just say Oklahoma State beats Baylor.
Yeah.
They're the number 5 team in the nation.
Yeah.
Let's just say Georgia loses to Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So that gives, and Cincinnati wins. Let me do Cincinnati as a hypothetical, and we usually don't do these conversations, but I'm feeling a little Skip Bayless today. Let's give Cincinnati the win, right? They have a perfect season. They go 13-0. Cincinnati wins, right? We say Georgia loses to Alabama, where Georgia and Alabama are both out the SEC with 1 loss apiece. Alabama beat Georgia head up. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Michigan wins. So Michigan wins, Alabama wins, Georgia loses, Cincinnati wins. Who's our 4th team? If Oklahoma State wins the Big 12. And then Georgia,
10-1.
They're 11-1. That would make them 12-1. So if Oklahoma State wins, Georgia loses, everybody but Cincinnati would have 1 loss. Mm-hmm. How do you decide, like, realistically?
Like I said, Georgia being the best team in the nation all year long. Flat out.
So you say Georgia gets an automatic win or lose?
Fact. They've been the best team all year. They've been dominating everybody.
So Georgia, Alabama, Cincinnati, and we would say Michigan if Michigan wins the Big Ten.
Yeah.
That's a shitty playoff.
It's going to be a shitty playoff regardless.
And I'm not being funny. And Cincinnati doesn't bring what a Power 5 school brings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma State doesn't.
As well.
Oklahoma State
bring the money.
Oklahoma State doesn't bring what Oklahoma brings. Power 5 school still, right? And Notre Dame doesn't have. They don't have a conference championship. They're 11-1.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ohio State is the number 17, but they already got 2 losses. So all the way down to the 16, we got 5 teams, 2 teams that are perfect. 5 teams that have lost 1 game. And we got 4 teams that can go into a playoff with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the top 6 still having conference championships that they have to win to get in. And they can win the conference and still not get in.
This conversation, I'm glad I'm not on the CFP committee. I'm glad, because I'd be like, bro, we doing too much, bro. Look at the game. Give the people the best games. All right?
Do we give the people the best games, or do we expand the college playoff format to let the teams that win their conference? And again, I feel like you do need to, if you're 11-1, like where the numbers are lying right now, you do need to win your conference in order to get a bid. So if all 6 of those top teams 5 win their conference championships, they have 1 loss. Don't they deserve a playoff opportunity?
Who am I to say?
I think they do. I think they do. So that's what I got to say about college football. There's a lot going on. There's coaches getting fired. Stay tuned for the latest updates. We'll be back next week with more. But Mr. Shaw, before we get out of here, we have to talk to Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys had their fans feeling like they were headed to the Super Bowl.
And they still should feel that way if they felt that way.
They have their fans believing that we were going to get some commercials cut with clips from Jimmy Johnson hollering, "How about them Cowboys?" They felt like the Cowboys were headed back to the promised land. We got past the playoff loss in the Dez catch, got back in the playoffs. Like the Cowboys have made it up in their head. Injuries. COVID-19 strikes again. First, Amari Cooper. right? And let's just say the person in my house said last week during the game, I literally wish I could post the pictures so that you could see the theatrics that took place with the Cowboy loss.
Talking about the
But he
dude punching
goes,
the radio player.
well, just before that, just with the loss, like the theatrics were absolutely amazing in my house. I forgot to show
Oh
you the
yeah.
pictures. So he goes, 19 went and got COVID. I was like, he went and got it. he went picked it up off the street. Like, what are you saying? He was like, 88 went and got hurt. I'm like, I don't think he got hurt on purpose. So, in his words, Mike McCarthy then went and got COVID too.
That's how he feel.
Like, I'm just repeating him at this point, right? At this point for the Cowboys, and Zeke is also hurt, right? Zeke has been having some injuries. I'm right, Mr. Shaw. See, Mr. Shaw, you're supposed to be my anchor. You're supposed to be like, yeah, you're
You
right.
saying
No, you're
Zeke
wrong.
is having injuries. I was just talking to my partner Richard Young about this yesterday. He feel like they need to sit him. Okay, at this point in the season, everybody injured, right? The
Right.
Cowboys' offensive line is rotating. Never heard of it. Offensive line rotated. Dak is getting hit more. The receivers are dropping passes. You going through something. I just went on, bro. Let me tell you what's wrong with people. In my fantasy league, I started the year off 7-0. I'm now 7-3. I went on 3-game losing streak. You want to know what happened in that 3-game losing streak?
Everybody got hurt.
Lost Derrick Henry. Aaron Rodgers caught COVID. So
he
in
got
that,
COVID.
when got COVID. So in that with that there alone, like bro, Derrick Henry was 20 plus points out the door. Now you got to manufacture 20 more points. Aaron Rodgers gone. That's 20. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you going through things. Aaron Rodgers come back, he not all the way there. Trying to figure out your lineup. I was able to get a win this week, but again, bro, people, you can lose 3-4 games. You can lose 3-4 games in a row to go win 5 in a row. The
I
Patriots
agree.
start off this year bad.
Yep.
I told people, Bill Belichick is a coach, he guarantee you 6 wins. And maybe more than that. 8 of them wins might be Bill Belichick.
Well, they play the Seahawks tonight, so they've been talking about the Mac Jones versus Russell Wilson matchup. But just to kind of wrap this story up, the Cowboys have lost the last 3 of the past 4 games. Zeke's knee has been injured for the last 3 weeks, and now they're saying they're considering sitting him. As you said, we are right out. We just finished Thanksgiving Day games, right? And I think these injuries, as we're seeing, is some of the combination of why I feel like the Players Association needs to be stronger. I don't feel like we need a longer season plus an extra game on Thursday. Because you make Monday to Thursday, Thursday to Sunday recovery times almost virtually impossible.
Mm-hmm.
So this is basic fundamentals. Like in practice, you never go full speed. So game time basically becomes practice time while everybody likes to do all these drills and stuff. I'm a fan of drills in game time situations, right? So I can freeze you and correct you. That's my little rant. But that's my little rant about, these coaching procedures. But anyway, so I feel like your body never really, like basic running, you never take those full on contacts until game time. So if Zeke's knee is injured, do you risk losing? And Pollard has done a good job. He does a good job always balancing the load for Zeke, which changes your scheme because now all the pressure is on Pollard. You can't alternate plays with just the back. So you may need to see if you got one on the third string that can get you 2 yards. I'm just saying, at this point,
third string, man.
Do we play the long game? The long game is the playoffs. That's the long game. A knee injury, we know if Zeke destroys his knee, he could be out for the season and half next season. And you never come back from those. So, Mike McCarthy.
I'm not mad at them setting them. But again, you lost to 3 AFC West teams. They just caught you. They just caught you. Keep playing. Your division's still ass.
Well, Mike McCarthy will be coaching from afar. He has COVID. We will see. This also lets us know maybe who's vaxxed and who's not with everything that's going on. So the Cowboys have to get past injuries in order to continue to be a contender. Injuries and COVID to be a contender for the playoffs this season. Mm-hmm. Y'all, this is your girl Candy K. Lynn.
And your boy Shawtown Shaw. My stomach a little bubbly.
And this is Pull Up the Podcast, guys. Until next time.
Yeah.
We out.